Wars is part of the Ripken Podcast Network. Join hosts Jake M, 46, Ripken and Bob's Ripken, as they explore the captivating world of error cards in the hobby. They dive into stories of printing blunders that transformed into sought-after collectibles. Discover the origins, variations, and market impact of these mistakes, while also considering how player careers influence their value. So sit back and enjoy this episode of Cardboard Wars.
Picture this, a single baseball card sold at auction earlier this year, and it's not a rookie season MVP, not a signed jersey card, not even an auto. It's a 1989 Fleer Commons box filler, a middle infielder for the Baltimore Orioles who hit .291 lifetime and made exactly one All-Star team. Final price on the rarest documented version of that card, north of $4,000 for a Bill, or also known Billy Ripken, base card. And it's because somewhere in a Topps warehouse in 1990, there's a version of this exact same story happening with a different name on the front, except this time the name isn't even supposed to be there. And somewhere else in a shoebox in Mesa, Arizona, there's a man in his 70s who has spent 50 years being famous for a baseball card of completely different people. I guess I'm going to try the Ben version of this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cardboard Wars. I'm Jake M46 Ripken, and I've got...
That's me. Me? What's up, Jake?
Yeah.
It's Bob's Ripken here, bud.
Oh, nice. And today, we're talking about the printing mistakes, the quality control disasters, and the honest-to-God pranks that turned into some of the most valuable cardboard in the hobby's history. This is the story of the error cards. Bob, I think this is week two. Week two of, in 3 weeks, where we were given the reins of this podcast.
No adult supervision, Jake. None at all.
We are here again.
Okay, so before we get to the big one, and everybody listening probably already knows which card I mean, at least our age group, Jake, this is our favorite error card, right? I want to start way back earlier than people think, though, because error cards didn't just start in the junk wax era, right? The first error card didn't pop on the scene when Billy Ripken pulled his bat out and decided to go out and get his picture taken. They go back to the beginning, really, of the modern hobby.
Yeah, I mean, 1969, top set, card number 653.
Aurelio Rodriguez, Angels third baseman, future Gold Glove winner, 17-year big league career.
Except the picture on the card isn't actually him.
It's not him at all. It's a 19-year-old bat boy named Leonard Garcia.
Now, Bob, walk me through how that even happens. How does, I don't get it.
All right, so here's the story, and there's a couple versions of this, is that a Topps photographer working off of old photo agency archives shot a picture at Tiger Stadium in Detroit back in 1967. Rodriguez and Garcia were about the same age, similar build, and the photographer's notes just basically mixed it up, Jake. One theory is a genuine mix-up in the field. Another that it was basically a good-natured prank between two teenagers, like the actual guys themselves, slipping one of them in for the photo when it wasn't actually him.
And nobody caught it?
Nope, nobody caught it. Topps' own photo archivist wrote Aurelio Rodriguez on the back of the picture of the bat boy, and it went straight into print. The mistake wasn't even publicly confirmed until 1973, 4 years later.
That's some solid quality control in the Topps warehouse for sure. And here's the part that kind of gets me, Bob, is Leonard Garcia didn't disappear after that. He stayed in the game decades into the Angels organization, and he ran a baseball school. This wasn't some random kid. He built an actual life in baseball. And for most of it, thousands of collectors owned his rookie card without knowing his name.
And Rodriguez, I want to say this carefully because it's not just a punchline. Aurelio Rodriguez was killed in a car accident years later. So when you hold that 1969 Topps card now, you're actually holding a photograph of a man who's still alive, misidentified as a man who's not, who was tragically killed. It's a strange little piece of history to having that 9-pocket page as you're flipping through your set of 69 Topps cards.
Yeah, and it's kind of a good gut check on why we do market section after the story, not instead of. I mean, these are people first.
Yeah, always, man.
So, okay, so that's the DNA of the air card. A mistake nobody meant to make that outlives everybody involved. Now, fast forward, we're talking the 70s, the 80s. Topps has the market basically to itself for a long stretch. And then in 81, the doors open. Fleer and Donruss get the license to make baseball cards too.
And suddenly now, Jake, we've got 3 companies racing to print sets fast. And quality control was just not what it is today, right? We didn't have AI looking at these things and scanning it through for us and making sure the face matches the name. And the early 80s, multi-company eras when collectors really start hunting for variations on purpose. Things like misspelled names or wrong stats, photo mix-ups. It becomes kind of a whole side genre of the hobby in the 80s as these companies are quality control is eroding.
Well, dude, I think I remember back in those days too, is you would actually chase an air card. Like you would, do you remember that? Like you would open a pack of your like box or whatever, and you're looking for an air card. Like, hey, do you got the air card, Bob? Do you have it?
I can remember, I think we may get to this a little bit later. The 1990, I think it's the 90 Donruss, that red set of Donruss baseball cards, like seemingly had thousands of airs, and everybody, I can remember being a kid, like we all thought they were going to be, it was like, oh, there's a black line through the name. And there was like, and really, I think like looking back now, we realize they weren't really errors as much as they were just really poor quality control in that particular set. And, but some of these were more kind of defined errors.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, I don't think people appreciate how fast and how sloppy this actually got. I mean, both companies like were racing to his shelves in about 3 or 4 months from the day the court ruling comes down. And that's not a lot of time to fact check a whole checklist.
Yeah. So you get, Donruss listing Bobby Bonds with 486 career home runs on the back of his card, which for reference is nearly 150 more than he actually hit in his career. Like,
it just made it up, right?
Yeah, where did that number come from? Just made it up. Fleer's got Tim Flannery listed as batting right-handed when he actually bats lefty. One of my personal favorites, Fleer got a stat line on the back of the Steve Carlton card listing his 1966 season as having happened in 1066, a mere 900 years prior.
Yeah, they were playing with sticks and rocks, I think. It was like the Battle of Hastings in 1066.
What? Check you out, dude. Were you like a history buff in junior high or something? Like what?
I dabble.
I mean, it's really just a single keystroke, Jake. Like somebody accidentally, were they using typewriters back then? Like accidentally on the typewriter hit a 9 instead of a 0, right? But the effect on a printed card is that a Hall of Fame pitcher's season gets dated 900 years before he was born,
But the one that's actually became a hobby phenom in real time. I mean, that
was Greg Nettles. Greg Nettles, Yankee third baseman. Yankees, obviously, biggest team in the sport. Fleer prints the back of his card with his name spelled Craig, the normal spelling instead of Greg, the spelling his parents gave him. Now it was Graig, which is a kind of an abnormal way to spell Greg, right? But they, went with the more traditional, totally different name of Craig.
They were unique, bro, and the people went nuts for it.
Yeah, like nuts. This is 1981. There's no internet back then. Obviously, there's no eBay. But word starts to spread, Jake, through like card shops, through hobby newsletters. Like, you and I was 4 years old in 1981, but it used to be that some of the main collectors would have like literally these newsletters that they would send out to, everybody that came into your hobby shop would give you your address, and, once a quarter you'd send out a newsletter. And as this starts to pick up steam, more and more people start to learn about it. And now collectors start ripping packs, specifically hunting the Craig, Craig Nettles card. Contemporary accounts have that a single air card trading for as much as $40 that same summer, while packs were selling for like, a quarter, right? So this was like the first big chase of an error card.
And that's $40 in 81 money. I mean, that's pretty decent money back then. I
Yeah,
mean,
bro. Like in
what was
1981 money? I don't know. That's got to
what
be
was gas, like 10 cents? I don't know. Not maybe not that long ago, right?
50
But
cents a gallon probably was gas back in 1981, although that was during that little spike when I think Jimmy Carter made our gas prices expensive. But
yeah,
and
where's Google
Fleer,
AI?
right? And Fleer, same as we'll see with the Ripken 8 years later, corrects it mid-print run. So now you've got both the Craig, C-R-A-I-G, and the Greg, G-R-A-I-G, the corrected versions floating around out there. Plus corrected and uncorrected version of about a dozen other cards in that same set that had some, minor, generally like almost, I don't know, like spell check type errors. But by the time collectors were done cataloging it, there were more than 20 distinct variations on that 1981 Fleer checklist alone.
So this is really the birth of error card hunting, if you would. It's kind of like its own hobby within the hobby. And I still see stuff on eBay today. It's crazy. Like people trying, and I don't know if it's real or what, but people are, quoting and flaunting this error card and jacking it up a bunch of money. Who knows if it's real? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, 1981, though, this is when collectors learn that a factory mistake can be worth chasing on purpose. Like, not just something you stumble into. Every error card story we tell for the rest of this episode is downstream of that summer in 1981.
Yeah. And which sets up the very moment everybody's been waiting for. I mean,
1989 Fleer, card 616.
Bill Ripken.
Say the whole story, man. Like, you've got the visual burned into your brain, same as me, right? But give me the story.
Yeah, I mean, Ripken's posing for his Fleer 89 Fleer photo, bat resting on his shoulder, knob facing the camera, and written on the knob of that bat in black marker is an obscenity, a joke, allegedly aimed at a teammate, allegedly just clubhouse humor that nobody at Fleer looked closely enough to catch before it went to print.
I saw a thing recently with Billy Ripken, and yes, it was a joke, but it wasn't related at all to that particular photo shoot. What it was that was his batting practice bat, Jake. And so when you would put your batting practice bat into the rack of bats, right? If he went in there and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to grab he didn't want to grab game bats," so he had written that on the bottom of he'd written face on the bottom of his bat. And so he'd written that so that when he went over to the bat rack very quickly, he could grab that bat. And so he was very coy in it about whether he'd meant to grab that bat or not. He kind of made it seem like he didn't mean to, but there was some allusions to the fact that maybe it wasn't necessarily not on purpose.
Yeah, dude. And once, collectors noticed, Fleer panicked and it started correcting the mid-print run, and which is the part that makes this card a hobby textbook case, Bob, because it's not one error card, it's a family of them.
Yeah. You've got the original uncensored version, right, with the F face on there. Then Fleer tries blacking it out with like a marker style box. And then they try scribbling it out in white. Then there's a blue box version. There's a partial ghosting version where you can still make out the letters underneath the correction.
And then, of course, collectors being collectors, they decide they want them all. It's like the rainbow of F faces,
right?
Right?
And this is why 36 years later, the scribbled out white PSA 10 would sell for $4,900 on a random Saturday night in February. It's not about Billy Ripken's career. It was about that chapter of printing that mistake. Jake, I have so this is 1989 is when this happens. I'm 12 years old. Up until a day, I don't even know what time of year this was. I can't remember, but my mom was an assistant manager at Fred Meyer, and I was raised by a single mom, Jake. So I'd never in my life prior to that opened more than 2 packs of baseball cards on any given day. When I was a little kid, my parents owned a grocery store, and I used to work there during the week. And then on Friday, I'd get 2 things from the store, and it was always 2 packs of cards. So I'd never opened more than 2 packs of cards in a day, right, Jake? My mom comes home. I'm 12 years old. My brothers are 10, 8, and 6, with 4 boxes of 1989 Fleer baseball. And I'm like, now I'm in Seattle. We're in Seattle. And so Ken Griffey Jr. was a big rookie in that box as well, right? But I'm like, oh my God, like, Mom, what is this, right? Like, this is friggin' Christmas in July. Like, what? And she says, well, there's a card in this, could be in this box, might not be, but there's a card that has a bad word written on the bottom of this guy's bat. I don't know how my mom found out the story. I don't know if it was, the Topps distributor. Like, I don't know. But she said, and the card right now is selling for $50, and they're saying it's going to be like really valuable. And so that day, my brothers and I sat down with my mom, and we opened 4 boxes of 1989 Fleer. We pulled 4 out of there. I actually, for years, owed Kevin Rips, our other co-host. I told him I had 4 of those things. I for years, he was like, you said you were going to give me one of those. I actually gave it to him last year at the National. One of those original 4 F-face cards that we pulled out of those 89 Fleer boxes. The cool thing for me as a Mariners fan is we also found, I think, 5 Ken Griffey Juniors in there when we were opening them.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, to me, it's what like really solidified my passion for collecting cards, was my mom bringing home 4 boxes of these things for us to go rip as kids.
Well, I mean, dude, I have a buddy of mine who's like into collecting skateboards. His man cave outside. He puts up a lot of things in his man cave. Really cool, like setup. He has pool table out there. And I remember asking him, "Hey, I'm going to Nationals. Well, I want to get a card for you for your man cave." He's like, "What?" I said, "Which one do you want?" And what did he say? It was the Billy Ripken air card. So I got him. And every time I go over there, it's hanging on the wall in a penny, like one of those submission sleeves, the soft plastic, and he has it pinned right into his board. So I mean, it's kind of legendary. So I mean,
so when I started getting back into collecting, Jake, my story. I've got two younger boys. I got an older son, but I got 2 younger boys. They're 8 and 10. And you shout out to Uncle Jake. You send them cards, and they love getting a package from Uncle Jake. But
it's been a while. I got to get on that.
Okay. that was a little subtle reminder. One of the first things I started doing was going back and buying some of these old junk wax boxes from my childhood. And so probably the first month we were back into it, I bought a box of 89 Fleer. When you buy those things on eBay, like, there is a way that if you know what the actual case number was on the case that those boxes came from, you can kind of zero it in to see if it was in that time frame where it was early on enough in the print run that it would be an F-face. But I just randomly bought a box of those 89 Fleer off of eBay. I didn't have any idea if it was going to be in that section of the print run or not. And we bring it home, and I let my son open it, my youngest, Minnie, and Jake, I swear to you, the very first pack he opens, 4 cards deep, is the Billy Ripken F-face card. Now, it was badly off-centered, like one of the worst off-centered cards I've ever seen, but it was still a really cool experience. I recorded him, and
that's cool.
I let him say the F word when I was like, "Minnie, what did we find?" He's like, "We found the F-face card," and I posted it in one of the groups on Facebook. Some of you guys on Facebooks are idiots. Like, these people are, "I can't believe you let your kid say the F word." I'm like, get out of here. But anyway,
yeah.
So I've had like a really long history with that particular card, and just some really cool experiences with it.
Well, there's another big one too. I mean, and it's kind of where 2 stories actually meet up, because while Fleer's dealing with this marketing nightmare in Baltimore, there's a kid in Chicago's farm system that nobody's even thinking about yet.
Yeah, the big hurt, Frank Thomas.
FT, dude. 1989 draft, White Sox, 7th overall. And I mean, nobody's thinking about him yet. Baseball America's first ever top 100 prospects list comes out, and Thomas is ranked 29th. Behind names like Jake McDonald, John Olerud, legend, Juan Gonzalez, Sandy Alomar.
29th, man. He's ranked 29th.
Yeah, he's 29. And meanwhile, he's smashing at Double-A Birmingham in 1990, batting .323, slugging .581, and gets named Minor League Player of the Year. White Sox call him up in August.
All right, here's where it gets fun, Jake. 1990 Topps puts him in the set of cards at number 414. Standard practice, nothing unusual, except somewhere in the print run, a batch of cards goes out with his nameplate missing entirely off of the front.
Yeah, I mean, no Frank Thomas, no team, nothing. Just a photo and a blank strip where his name should be.
Collectors started calling it the no name on front, or NNOF for short. And at the time, 1990, peak junk wax, by the way, right? Like, that's that same 90 Don Russ set we were talking about earlier. When the entire hobby's business model is print as many as humanly possible. Like, I think that was on the door when you walked in at the building at Topps. Nobody thinks anything of it. Like, it's a curiosity. It's not a chase card necessarily. It doesn't even show up in Beckett's price guide until 3 years later in 1993.
But here's the thing that makes the air card of the modern era. The junk wax era was built on the idea that scarcity was dead. Print runs in the tens of millions. Nothing was ever going to be rare again.
And then Topps' own printing press accidentally created scarcity by mistake, right? Inside the single most mass-produced set of the entire decade.
Yeah, it's almost poetic.
So good. It's the whole thesis of this episode in one card, honestly.
Yeah, and Thomas, meanwhile, just keeps climbing. Back-to-back AL MVP, 93, 94.
Let's actually sit on 93 for a second, because that season's absurd. Like, he hits 317, 41 homers, 128 RBIs, 106 runs scored, 112 walks. That walk total is the part scouts still point to. The guy had the discipline of a 10-year vet in really what was only his third full season in the majors.
And sometimes you get those players that they crush it one season, but this wasn't a fluke. I mean, 94, he backs it up, wins MVP again, and that season gets cut short by the strike, or people would be talking about it as one of the great offensive years ever. I mean, for him, if it hadn't got cut off, right?
4 silver sluggers at 2 different positions. First guy ever to do that. 2-time batting champion, 500 home run club, first ballot Hall of Famer in 2014. Like, this guy's a machine.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy who's an afterthought on draft boards, becoming an inner circle Hall of Famer, and printing mistakes on his rookie cards was an afterthought in 1990, becoming the single most valuable card connected to his name. 2 overlooked things, both catching up to their real value at the same time.
I'll push back gently here, though. Like, I think it's tempting to make this sound like destiny, right? Cause and effect, name meant to be, all that. Like, it's not necessarily. It's just a coincidence that a Hall of Famer career happened to land on top of that printing error. And it does make you wonder, like, had that been, I don't know, Jake, like Kevin Maas or somebody, like, had it been a guy that never turned into what Frank Thomas turned into, like, would it still be this, this crazy card? I don't know. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. The player still has to be the player, I think. So I think the fact that Thomas became who he became made this thing, more like that lottery ticket than had it been just some guy that none of us could remember his career today.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of the whole formula we're going to talk about here in a second. I mean, the air card gets you the attention, but the human being's actual career, it decides whether the attention turns into value, right?
Yeah, so that brings us to the last stop here, and honestly, like, one of the funnier one. This is 2006 Topps Alex Gordon.
Different flavor of air entirely.
Totally different. Like, this one's not a printing slip up. It's like a rules violation, essentially, right? Topps put a rookie card, or he put an RC, rookie card logo, on Gordon's card before he'd played a single major league game, which broke the new licensing agreement that Topps had just signed with the Players Union.
So they had to pull it mid-production, dude.
Woo! Little slap on the hand. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
It's probably because production was already rolling, right? So obviously if that's out there and now they're coming back and saying, hey, you can't do this, you actually get 2 different stories tangled into one here. And it's worth untangling a little bit. On the base 2006 Topps card, number 297, they caught it at different points in the print run. So you get a small run of the complete intact card. You get blank front versions in gold foil, and then the rarest is a blank front in silver foil, which by some collector accounts might only exist like literally in a handful of copies.
And that's not even the weirdest one.
No, it's not, because over in 2006 Topps Heritage, a completely separate set, card 255, Topps had already shipped product with Gordon's full rookie card intact by the time MLB flagged the rookie card logo issue. Their fix wasn't blank fronts. It was physically die cutting his face and bio out of cards that were already printed, punching a literal hole through the card to void it before it could go back out. Like, what?
Like what are they doing, right? like they don't even know when these guys start or if they're playing or when they're, I mean, it's crazy. So, I mean, this one gets, the one set gets blank fronts, the other gets an actual hole punch through it.
Right? 2 different companies, quality control panic, same rookie, same year, 2 totally different fixes. That's nuts.
and terrible fixes at best. I mean, the rookie card that technically wasn't allowed to be a rookie card yet.
And Gordon goes on to have a pretty good career, by the way. Like, he's a franchise legend for the Royals, 8 Gold Gloves, back-to-back World Series. This isn't some scrub. The guy, is a real player.
Yeah, so you go from a 69 photo mix-up to an 89 clubhouse joke that slipped past a proofreader to a 1990 printing press hookup on a future Hall of Famer to a 2006 rules technicality on a future franchise cornerstone. I mean, 4 completely different kinds of mistakes.
And I don't know, the fun part for us as collectors is all of them turn into kind of some of the most talked about cardboard in the hobby, especially that Billy Ripken F-face. The Frank Thomas, I'd say right behind that. Just that Ripken one is so ingrained in me because, it got to be a part of my collecting story over the years.
Yeah, and it's got a bad word in it. I mean, that makes it even cooler when you're a little kid and you got a card that has the F word that you're not allowed to say.
My mom came home and said, "We're going to find a card that says fuck on it." Like, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're stoked, right? I mean, all right, let's shift gears and let's talk about the hobby now, because knowing the stories is great, but if you're actually out there hunting these down, you need to know the real numbers.
Yeah, let's build out this like oldest to newest. So first, it's 1969 Topps, number 653, the Aurelio Rodriguez, Leonard Garcia Bat Boy era. This is one of the affordable entry points for the group, right? A raw, kind of good condition near mint copies are $20. Not a scarce print run. It was scarce in terms that nobody was making more of that exact story, right? A totally random guy on the card, but grading premiums aren't insane. Like a PSA 6 sold in the same neighborhood as raw. A lot of those cards are just very condition sensitive from that 69 set. You very rare to find any real high. In fact, no real high grades in that have sold anytime recently.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the most famous one, of course, is the 89 Fleer Bill Ripken, and you have to specify which variation, Bob. That's the whole game with this card.
Yeah, for sure. Like the raw copies, you got the standard F-face version, right? Fuck face, it's on the bat. That'd be the raw copy. Then you have the black box corrected version, which is the most common one. I think that's the one they ultimately settled on, and like the rest of the print run was done in that just straight black box. It's got, it's almost like a computer box, very defined edges on that box.
Yeah, they didn't have AI back then.
Yeah, no AI, right? That one, the standard version, I don't know, $70, somewhere in that range. Once you grade it, the market really opens up. Like PSA 9s of that F-face card can go up in the, up over $500, $600, $700 depending. The PSA 10s, I want to say a PSA 10 is Jake 12, 1400, like, and these things bounce around a little bit. Sometimes you can find a deal if you're out at the National or something versus going on and getting in a Fanatics bidding fest or something. But depending on the day, you're looking, I don't know, $1,200 to $1,500. And then there's some rarer variations. Like there was this period of time between when they had the raw F-face and then they ultimately settled on that black box where we talked about they were doing scribbled out in white, right? Like, or this partial correction ghosting copies. I've actually never seen the partial correction ghosting copy, like with my own eyes. I've seen all the other variations. Those are where you start to see some real spikes, right? One of the PSA 10s in that partial ghosting sold for like $4,900 in February of 26, which is the most that Billy Ripken card in any of its variations has ever sold for.
Yeah, and a caution note on this one, because there's it's a famous piece and famous error card. I mean, counterfeits and doctored versions circulate. So if you're looking at these cards, make sure you get one that's graded, that's actually legit, that they, at least someone said, hey, this is it,
But the crown jewel, though, of error card collecting in terms of value, Jake, is that no name on the front Frank Thomas card, 1990 Topps, card 414. This one is, a little bit more valuable.
Yeah, give me the tiers, Bob.
So raw copies, somewhere in the $300 range. Although raw copies you should be real careful with. This is a often faked or duplicated card, right? PSA 8s can get up around 10 grand, which is absurd because there's only ever been one graded PSA 10 in that card, Jake.
Only one? Holy smokes, one card. Dude, that's crazy.
One card. Now, there's an estimated population of about 400 total known no name on fronts across all the grades. There may be some out there that have never kind of surfaced, and Topps never gave specific numbers on how many, but that single PSA 10 has sold a few times. It sold for $24,000 back in 2012 out of the Dimitri Young collection auction. It sold for $170,000, Jake, in December of 2022. And then that person I took a loss on it because it sold a couple years later for $148,000. And then the record, $183,000 at a heritage auction on March 2nd, 2026. And not only is it the most expensive error card that we were able to find having never been sold, it's also the most expensive Frank Thomas card ever sold, which I guess is not shocking given that he was a rookie during the junk wax era when there was, millions of his card produced. But again, the rarity of that error card, which only 400 known copies exist, is why it sold for $183,000.
And that's just I guess it's a 101, right? I mean, it's a 101.
Yeah.
There's not many
the
of
only
them.
PSA 10 of that card.
Yeah, from a mass-produced 1990 base set.
From the mass-produced 1990 base set, Jake. Like, it's the set that had the highest production run of any of the sets, and crazy enough, even though it had that high production run, it created the most valuable card, which is what we're here talking about, the error card.
Yeah, and I'm going to come in again with a caution note here. I mean, it's not a formality, if you would. I mean, the value gap between the NNOF and the standard name on front version of the exact same card is huge, and that gap has made this one of the most heavily counterfeited cards in the hobby. People recolor the nameplate out, people photocopy, blur it. There was even a case where a fake slipped past grading and got a legit PSA holder before it was caught. That's crazy.
If you're buying a Frank Thomas no name on the front card, I'd say find yourself a reputable dealer, like cross-reference the PSA populations reports. And I mean, I think for anything, you guys out there in the hobby these days, if you're getting a steal of a price, it seems too good to be true, Jake, especially on a card that's worth, potentially 5 figures. It's probably too good to be true.
All right, so let's jump last one, the 2006 Topps number 297, Alex Gordon. I mean, raw copies of the standard version, typically standard $20. This one's really about the graded variants. I mean, PSA 10s of the intact base version have hit as high as 4,200 on a best offer eBay sale.
And with population counts as low as like 34 total PSA 10s reported for that base card, obviously the scarcity is doing a lot of the pricing work here more than, maybe the fact that he wasn't, he didn't hit 700 home runs like Barry Bonds or whatever, right? So he had a genuinely good stat line, but it's not necessarily the guy creating the value here as much as it's, there wasn't a lot of these. The die cut 2006 Topps Heritage Edition trades in a totally separate, thinner market since it's such a specific oddity. These things, I think if you wanted one and error cards was your thing, Jake, you could probably find yourself a pretty good deal on some of the different variations of that card.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely unique like chase, right? Like unique little set to build around. It's kind of cool. So, I mean, if you're building this PC and if you decide to do it, I mean, what would you give the hierarchy as far as the air cards?
I mean, the 90,
I think from value, right? From value wise.
Yeah. The 90 Frank Thomas is going to be, but I don't know. It's a super rare card. You want to start to get into the high end graded variations. Like you better be Ben Ripken
one
or
copy.
something.
It's one copy. You better fork out some money.
Yeah. I think after that, it becomes like some of the Billy Ripken graded versions, not necessarily of the F face though. It's of those, the white scribble, or there was a black scribble, or that ghosted out variation. Those would be kind of some of the next ones. And then I don't know, look, like you'd probably slot some of those Alex Gordon cards in there next. And then, maybe the last one value wise, but I think maybe one of the coolest ones. And the reason why, the genesis of all of it, the start of all of it, is that Aurelio Rodriguez card. Like, it's probably the least of, the most affordable card of all of them, but I think it's maybe the funnest story too, the most allure, the fact that the guy who was actually on the card built a life in baseball kind of out of that. Cool. That's super cool. Like that's what the hobby is about, right? It's the people.
I might grab one. Remind me to grab one at Nationals next week, dude. I love it. I think we might have to do that. So, Bob, let's before we close it out. I mean, you told a really great story. I love that story about your mom bringing home the boxes. Any other stories you have about some errors or
well, I can remember that 90 Don Russ set, which I mentioned was, it was such a mass produced set. I'm in junior high at that point, Jake. So like as kids, we're bringing cards to school and stuff. And I can remember that every month Beckett, each month a Beckett would come, right? And yeah, I can remember Corey, I don't know if it was Corey Sandelius or one of the kids in my little friend group would like bring the Beckett, right? Like they got it mailed to their house when they'd show up at school with it. And I can remember a 4 or 5 month period in 1990 around that Don Russ set where he'd bring it to school and we'd all get around it. We'd all have all those red Don Russ cards and we'd go in there looking because every single month there would be a new error variation in there. But again, looking back, they was just crappy print control. It was like a black line through his white name on there, right? Or those cards had the pinstripes on it, and so sometimes the pinstripe would be broken up or it would run straight through the name. But I can remember it being a very fun exercise as kids to be like, oh my gosh, okay, there it is. The new one is the Tom Gordon. Okay, everybody go. And we're digging through our cards trying to see, oh, I got a Tom Gordon. Oh, it doesn't have it. And half the time you wouldn't even really know what the error was. You'd think you had it, but you wouldn't until another buddy. And now you're both looking at it. You're like, no, that's so I don't know, man. It just, for me, especially that junk wax era, I think a lot of us realizing most of these cards aren't very valuable, but there's this chance, Jake, that we could open up one of those packs, the 25-cent pack or the 50-cent Don Russ pack, right? And out of there, you could pull a card like that Billy Ripken F-face card, an error card that, was worth more simply because of the fact that there was an error on it.
Well, what's funny about all that, Bob, is it's almost like today's market, right? You pay 50 cents. And you pull that error card and it's $50, so it's like a 10x multiplier.
Yeah.
Today you pay 1,000, and you have a chance to pull a 101 or of 10, and again, it's a 10x multiplier. Different price point, different players, different product, but.
I mean, this was years before we had numbered cards, right? Like this in the 80s, they didn't have that concept of creating scarcity by numbering a card or having this limited edition. And so essentially error cards became some of the first cards that were scarce, like on accident, not like they do it today on purpose, right? But they were scarce on accident. And that was a part of the fun.
All right, brother. Well, that's going to do it for this one, Bob. Always a pleasure breaking down the mistakes with you.
Yeah, Jake, I can't believe they let us keep doing these without any adult supervision, man, but it's an absolute blast every time we do it. Hey, I don't know. I'm going to go order a box of 89 Fleer, Jake, off of eBay. Maybe I'll get lucky, buddy. Maybe I'll get lucky.
Now we just have to, after you get lucky, we'll just have to hope for the grade, right? I mean,
that's right. That's right.
All right. Oh, I'm M46 ripping.
I'm Bob's ripping.
Keep on ripping. All right. Later, guys.
Thanks for listening to Cardboard Wars on the Ripon Podcast Network. Don't forget to leave a rating and review and check out ripon.com to get connected to what we have coming up. Find us on Instagram and let us know what you would like to hear about on a future episode of Cardboard Wars. Until next time, keep ripping.